You
My
know,
parents are from Queens and Jersey.
uh, we're gonna go ahead and start it, but we do want to have that discussion too. I do want to learn a bit more about your background as well. But welcome to Uncommon Courtesy, our live
Town
stream.
Hall Live Edition. You hear me okay?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm using a different system today.
It's good. It's good to see you today. Again, my brother, man, it's always good to see you. This is Uncommon Courtesy, our live stream Town Hall edition. We have a special guest today in the building. His name is Cam. I met him through a political page that, I'm often commenting on. He's often commenting on it as well. I had a few questions for him. Me and him have had some back and forth, and he decided to come on live today and address his viewpoints for me to address mine. We can kind of see if we can come to some type of, I wouldn't call it a resolution because it's not about that. It's about just seeing what viewpoints kind of matter and what viewpoints matter to each person. That's how I look at it. But so this is my co-host.
How's it going?
How you doing, man? Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
I'm good. Yeah, thanks for coming on.
I'm gonna go ahead.
I'm over here in Washington State.
Oh, nice. Are you in Seattle?
No, yeah, basically
Near Seattle. I'm actually on vacation today. That's why I'm on vacation today. I'm in Arizona right now. I'm visiting my daughter, so I just left out yesterday.
Nice.
So
yeah, I've been to Washington. I've been to Arizona.
Where are you from?
States. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay. I know that we had a few interactions where I asked about your, I want to say ethnicity or your nationality, however you want to call it. Where you were born? You said, I think you were saying something about New York or.
Yeah, I was born in Macon, Georgia. So I'm from the South. I was born in Macon, Georgia, raised in Charleston, South Carolina. Now, if you ever, like I said, I've been to Arizona. I've been to Washington State. I drove cross country multiple times. I never left the country, but I've pretty much seen every state in the United States except for Hawaii. But if you know anything about South Carolina, if you know anything about Charleston, the southern part of South Carolina basically should just be a different state than South Carolina because it's so different. So Charleston is where the slaves from West Africa were brought. It's where the church shooting, the Emanuel 9 happened. So it's just all history. It's a very historic city. A lot of Civil War history. Just a lot of history, man. A lot of history. I don't know if you heard of Walter Scott. That's the black guy that got shot in the back by the police. That was in North Charleston. So I'm from, where the slaves work. We took field trips to plantations, to describe where I'm from. But the people here are called Geechee. That's maybe you can hear it in my accent.
I heard it.
Yes, it's Creole. We can relate to blacks in the top of Florida, Duval-ish area, New Orleans, southern Texas. It all comes together, all from the Western Hemisphere of Africa to here is the story that's been told to me since I was a kid. So, the African jokes do hit different, though. I'll say that much.
So let me ask, are you a first generation? How many generations has your family been here? Do you know? Because I can't tell you that I know for sure, fully mine, because of course we have a slave history. But how many generations has your family been here? Are you African? Of course, all. But are your parents were they or grandparents?
No, we're African American. We're black. So my family, my mother's family goes back to what a lot of people will argue, Dane Calloway's theory that they were probably even here before ships of slave were brought here. Because you're from the North Carolina area that goes into the Indians, Cherokee. So my mom's side of the family can get traced back probably 5 generations. My great grandparents actually swam across from an island called James Island to Charleston because that was what a lot of the blacks did at that time to resettle. So my dad's side of the family, he can trace back to Liberia. But if you know anything about Liberia, it was formed after slavery by the Americans. That's why the Liberian flags looks just like the American flag. So that only didn't arrive till after slavery. So the history would have been broken to prior where my dad's side would have came from before then. Whether that would have been here in America or any part of Africa, we wouldn't know because Liberia was literally formed by America. So, I think that's maybe a crisis that a lot of blacks have in America. We don't know where we came from to a certain extent. Then I have met white people that can trace back their family 200 years, and they say that they wish they couldn't because they feel that they're carrying that weight on them to this day. So, I mean, it could be a gift and a curse, but I do think that that plays a major role in a lot of these conversations that we're having, because you have some blacks feeling that they came from Africa. You have some blacks feeling that they came from here in America. And I think that now we're actually starting to see that climax within these discussions.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest reason why I asked the question to you was because of a conversation that we had, to where you kind of I felt, this is how I felt. I felt like you were very you were negative towards foundational Black Americans. You know, and I use that term loosely because I'm not huge on the whole foundational Black American versus, you know, African American who just can't, you know, I'm not, I feel like there's that, but it's a true divide though between the two. And it was like, it was terminology that I was hearing from you. I'm like, okay, like it's like you were pushing an agenda kind of to almost say that Black people are, the reason why Black people are poor, or poor Black people come from a Democratic Party, is because, I mean, it's a mind state. I guess you're trying. I guess I took it as more than anything else. Am I correct in my assessment of that?
Yeah, man, I can't pinpoint the exact conversation. You know, it's so much content within that group, so it can even be overwhelming. But I can't pinpoint it, but I can see exactly where you're coming from. Now, I will say that with the FBA argument against they called them tethers or tethers. I mean, I'm African American, so I'm going to side with African Americans when, you know, we're arguing about nationalities or whatever the topic of, you know, debate is. But in general, I do agree with Tariq Nasheed. I do think that FBA is something that we could probably push forward as a people, but I agree with Dane Calloway as well, which is I try to give credit to a lot of Black theories because we don't know. Nobody has all the answers. So I agree with Dane Calloway that maybe we're not Black because we're physically are brown, we're copper-skinned people. And I agree with Tariq Nasheed that foundationally we have been here as a people. And I can agree with Africans in Africa and Kenya, I would say, because I'm not going to say Ghana, or maybe I wouldn't even say Nigeria, I would say Eastern Africans, saying because they're staying in Eastern Africa and saying this. They're not trying to come to America and saying that a lot of us are lazy or this or that as well. And as an African American, I'm saying I agree with all three different of those takes on, you know, us as a people.
You believe the Africans are, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
You know, I agree with Tariq Nasheed on a couple of things. Like, you know, he's pointed it out that, you know, Africans come from Africa and some of them don't want to associate with us. And then they also get into places of power where then they tried to, what's the word? Sorry, I had a crazy night last night. They kind of try to sabotage what were our movements. Hello. Like there was the lady, and she was, I believe she was from a different country, but she was in California, and she was the main one that sabotaged part of the reparations deal that they had there in California. And it's just crazy how, like, you know, a lot of these people, they get in these positions, and like for her, she knows she's not going to get reparations. I mean, I don't know why we keep going for it anyways. Like, I mean, America's never going to pay those dues.
I almost don't feel like we've really ever really gone for it. You know, I mean, I think maybe when it first happened, when it first started playing out, I think we've never really set up a system that really could even work. You have to actually put together systems such as political action committees, get yourself deeply embedded and rooted within politics. We just vote. We don't do enough, proactive things like, I mean, we march and we vote in my eyes. You know, there's not a lot of.
I think there's enough. Okay, like for example, the Trump administration had just cut off the $19 million scholarships that they're having for the HBCUs. You know, and people are trying to be up in an uproar. And I'm like, wait a minute. You know, so there's a rapper, an entertainer, a business owner that can fill that gap. You know what I'm saying? But it's the whole thing. We don't have to rely on the government to take care of us at all. Like, we're kind of self-sustained. They say we have the biggest spending power in America. You know, say Black, we just don't spend it with each other.
I can't remember if it was the president of Kenya or the president of Ghana, where Trump is cutting off the aid going to that country. And he was telling his people that, well, you're not American, stop crying. Why are we relying on America? I think that's the whole attitude that the whole world needs to adapt. And I think us as a people also need to adapt this. Like, what really confuses me about Black Democrats is that you all take up a lot of, and I don't know if you all specifically are Black Democrats, but maybe your crowd or the basis that you're arguing for. Or what just confuses me about Black Democrats in general, along with white liberals, they take up white liberal arguing points, but then they are holding on to the federal government for a job. So which one is it? Like, do you want to, do you want to integrate, or do you want to privatize your own community? Like, which one is it? You can't really have the best of both worlds. And I think that our people have been led to believe and bamboozled by Democrats to believe that you can have the best of both worlds because we'll just cry when we don't get our way. But that's only worked for white women. That hasn't worked for Black Democrats. And that's why I go so hard on Black Democrats, because I want to hold them accountable for all these years of nothing. And now they want to talk about reparations. Well, all of the work that it's going to take to put in to get any type of movement with reparations, you could have rebuilt Black Wall Street. And I'm not going to sit up here like I'm a billionaire or I'm just this, I got it all figured out. I don't have all the answers. I'm looking for people to meet with and, network with every day, but I don't care if they're Black like me. They can be white and racist for all I care. And Black people hate to hear me talk like that. But if we look at our community, we're in a die-hard situation of some change. And Democrats have brought pretty much every chaotic thing to our community except change. So when I get on these platforms, when I speak out, when I'm in these groups and having these discussions, I'm always going to be saying, things that probably are not going to, align with Black Democrats in California, whether they're African or they were born in America, because Maxine Waters is not from Africa. And she's a huge threat to the Black community. I say that she's a army in the poverty army. She's a soldier in the poverty army. So is Jasmine Crockett. So was Kamala Harris. And I can keep going down the list, but Blacks still don't get this reparation. Half of the reason Kamala Harris lost was because of the California reparation deal when it fell through right before our eyes, right before election. Yeah. And that had a lot to do with Gavin Newsom as well. And Black people still going out their way to vote and support these people. Trump can say something that's completely true about these people, and Black people will still disagree. That's so it's just brainwashing. It's almost to a point of no repair. And I don't see how Blacks that don't consider themselves radical, right-wing, red hat Republicans like myself still aren't enthusiastic about what's really going on. There has been some deep brainwashing in our community, and there's going to be some extreme measures that we have to take to get it done. Or we can all admit that it's destroyed beyond repair. And maybe that'll be more satisfying to us.
It is. I agree with you. The thing that I was a Democrat just because, I'm more of a centrist is what I consider myself now, an American. I was a Democrat supporter for a long time. The thing that threw me off to the party where I was like, you know what, they're really not going to do nothing for us is when they made the Asian and Pacific Islander hate crime bill. And when that came in, I was like, oh, so you can act that fast. You can make change that quick. And they did it quick. I mean, they got, a year of hate, and they gave it to them instantly.
And the part of the reason they did that was because they claimed that it was a spike in robberies and Asians out west. And there was also some rap song out west where a guy was giving instructions on how to rob Asians. But
it was YG. He made the song years before that. And that's crazy because, you make a song about robbing Asians, right? So we're going to take that offline. I'm like, okay, but it's okay to talk about robbing and killing Black folks. And that's why Kanye went on his rant recently on X. He said that he's like, look, I'm going to make it normalized talking about Hitler, like y'all make it normalized talking about killing Black folks in music. And they're like, no, we got to take that down.
I hear what you guys are saying. And I get your viewpoints on all this. I just don't agree. I agree that what I look at is like, what has Republicans done for Black people? What have they done at all? I mean,
at least they show their true colors.
Wait. And I understand you guys have got something to say about that, but let me finish my my viewpoint. If we look at it since the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, even further on, the party that has done more for the impoverished, which just so happens to be Black people, we're at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to household wealth. That just is what it is. A lot of reasons that go into that, you know what I mean? But we have made huge strides. So to act like a lot of us are sitting back waiting on the government for a job is just mind-blowing to me, because Black women are the most highly educated class of people. Tap in my cousin right there, Trucker. There's another MAGA man for you right here. He's you know what I mean? But what
sideways for us?
I just want to introduce myself, Mr. Hilltop Trucker, man. You know what I mean? AKA silent supporter of who is our president?
The great.
Gosh.
45, 47.
Hey man, let me put on my thinking hat, man.
Hey, let me finish my turn your camera sideways.
Turn your camera sideways for us.
Sideways?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Does that work better? There you go.
Yeah.
It'll expand the stream. But what I was saying was, for us to even say that is it's just preposterous. That's just my viewpoint to say it. Like it doesn't make sense. I've heard that a lot. People try to act like blacks are waiting for some kind of a handout. No, we just look at things like I understand that whatever helps the lowest among us helps black people. Like when Obama came out with Obamacare, yes, it could have been 10 times better. But let's look at the other 40 something Republicans that are close to 40 Republicans, 38, whatever it was, that voted against it, did not add anything to the bill. Republicans have not done anything for the lower class in a number of years. They're really the reason why we're in so much debt are because of Republicans. They're the biggest job losers when it comes to administrations. Republicans, the run we have in office right now, ran up the largest debt in history in 4 years. Republican. I mean, let's not, I know.
And like Vince Carter said, I'll do it again. I'll do it again.
Here's the thing. When you speak of those things, cuz, and like I was telling you, when we every time we talk, your passion is so great. You don't say just Republicans, just say politicians.
It's Republicans, though. If we look at the two and we separate
it's
them.
on both aisles. In my opinion, it's on both aisles, man.
There's no way you can one-side that. The deficit,
it's on both sides, man.
Let's
it up is the Republicans.
Let me look at it. Let me show you. Let me say it from this. We can go back about 40, about 35 years or so right now. Is that a good time frame for you guys to look at Bill Clinton? When he leaves office with a $500 billion surplus that he leaves to George W. Bush.
Bill Clinton also sold the jobs to China.
But yeah, and how many black people did Bill Clinton help lock up?
One at a time.
Okay, one at a time. D-Mac just hit the lottery.
Yeah,
Okay, I see. This is why I say that black men are affected by the BBB, by the 4B movement. You got Bill, you got Bush, you got Barack, and you got Biden. That destroyed black men to the point of no repair.
Wow.
You all will really sit here and rock out with Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, who came up with the ninja loan, the no income, no job, you get a home. Oh my gosh, the housing market crashed because of Bill Clinton. George Bush is a rhino. He's a warmonger. He's what you call a Republican in name only, a rhino.
Oh my goodness.
He is Dick Cheney.
They still ain't found the weapons of mass destruction.
His was Dick Cheney. Who were you all voting for a few months ago? Kamala Harris and Liz Cheney. You all played like you cannot have.
Liz Cheney was not running for office. Let's not say that she was in a situation
Elon Musk
she was
wasn't
running for office.
And you see what you got. Elon Musk wasn't running for office, but I was smart enough to know I'm voting for Elon Musk. Maybe the Democrats weren't smart enough to know that you were voting for a group of people, but you vote for a group of people when you vote for president. You're not just voting for one person. That's what happened.
We're not. Liz Cheney was not going to even be involved.
Can I hear the campaign for Kamala Harris?
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, a lot of people campaign.
Because Kamala Harris tried to say that she was bridging the gap. She was bringing Republicans and Democrats.
We both know why. We both know why Liz Cheney stepped out for Kamala Harris, because it was January 6th. We both know what just happened. We both know how Donald Trump threw her under the bus. They attacked her with a primary her in her own district. Let's stop that. Let's stop acting like the reason why she didn't step out was because of January 6th, was because Donald Trump tried to usurp an election. He did that, and everyone knows he did it. He sent in 12 electors to 7 different states, in each state to try and tell that state to no longer vote for who the state had already duly voted for. Not only that, he called in Georgia, can you find me 11,700 and whatever votes on the telephone? It's recorded. He did that. Then he sends in his people on January 6th, the day that we always do our peaceful transfer of power, and to take over the election, to stop a new elected president from being sworn in. Stop me, or just put the election from going his way. Let's not act like we don't know. That's why Liz Cheney was stepping out and speaking with her. So we were not voting for Liz Cheney. She would not have even been a real part of that administration. Say she could even have had a cabinet seat, but she would have had no real power. So let's not say this person, Liz Cheney. And rhinos now are people like, they call rhinos, how you going to call George W. Bush a rhino? That's a real Republican. You guys are something different now. You're a subset of Republicans now, dude. The new guys. You guys are MAGA. You guys are not Republicans. Let's stop it. You're not voting for down the line Republicans. You're not even conservatives. You're not even conservatives. You're running up deficits. Conservatives are fiscal hawks. Let's not pretend.
Can I make a point, cuz? I just want to make one point. See,
you calling Doge fiscal hawks?
I like to come in. I like to come in. I counter a little bit, but I'd like to hit you with sucker punches. You brought up Bill Clinton, and you talking about how much money he as far as the deficit. Then D-Mac came in and said what he said. How many? He locked up more black men than anybody.
You want to
let's talk about it.
Okay, let's go from the start. Let's go from the start of the real drug bills that first came out under Nixon. Nixon was the one who came out with the war on drugs that really started targeting the black community. We all know that. That's a fact. I'm not saying, okay, then we run into Ronald Reagan and then George Bush. What did he do with Willie Horton putting his face on the screen? Y'all remember that ad he ran for Willie Horton? When he was about to lose to Dukakis, then they had to make sure they say put that ad, that black and white picture of that black man's face on screen, talking about Willie Horton. So let's not act like that wasn't a thing. I'm not saying that all these people are perfect. We know what country we live in. We know who we are in this country. We understand that. But I'm looking at the overall trajectory of where our country is headed has always been better under Democrats. Period.
You know what I mean? That's not. Hold on. When you say our people, who you talking about? The American
people on this screen, right? Yeah, the American people too, but we're all American people, but we're also black people.
Because I look like you, he look like you.
Yes,
as far as black men, and how you pronounce your name, sir? I don't want to get it wrong.
You said Cam. Call him Cam.
Just call you Cam. Okay.
You know, at the end of the day, it's like this. I look at it as for us as a black community, we need to make our own political party. Even if you two are both Republicans and we're both Democrats, it doesn't. This is what matters to the world. We have the spending power. We have the financial power now. We have the structure. We just can't get along and agree on who wants to be in charge. Yeah. We're acting like everybody. But I mean, when the Democrats come around, you know they're not going to do nothing for us. They come, they get our votes. When Republicans come around, they're like, you know what? They're going to use the black people they can use to try to influence more black people over there. But they're not going to do nothing for us either. But if we stop what we're doing, look what happened this election. They got enough black people to disenfranchise from the Democratic Party, and they lost. Just enough. All they had to get was 8%. You know what I'm saying? And they lost. And look what's happening. And they're trying to scare. Look, 8%? Like 8%. Look, and they're trying to scare us. And we're like, oh, they're taking this away. They're taking that away. And then we're like, wait a minute. Everybody's got to come down to our level now, because we've been getting shitted on in this country. You know what I'm saying? And we persevere. That's the reason we don't have medical insurance, because they didn't want black people to live through all that. That's the reason. I mean, everything that's going on in our communities, we've been surviving. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird. It's kind of like we're God's chosen people, because they just can't kill us all for some reason. We just keep multiplying.
And to that point, you're absolutely right. And the reason why the Democrats are all up in the upspur is because just what D-Mac just said, when we talking about political votes and things like that, 8%, we thinking 8%. We like, hold on, that's not even a 10. So it really ain't that much. But when we talking about millions of folks, that's a lot of people. And what the Democrats are really nervous about is because the people that look like me and you is starting to shift over to the red. I'm telling you, that's why they're up in the upworld. When it comes to anything voting, the Democrats is the only person or the only side that talk about the black vote. Name one time have you seen a Republican run and mention anything about white people, black people, Asian people, anything?
I hear it all the time.
I hear it.
Let me say. I've heard it. I mean, you can answer if you want to, Cam. But I've heard it plenty of times.
I'm talking about to the sense of, I mean, everybody knows the Democrat depends on the black vote.
I mean, well, it's not the Democrats' fault. Black people vote for Democrats at a 92% rate. Who wouldn't depend on their biggest flaw, their biggest flunky, their biggest cat, their biggest buyer, their biggest junkie? If you know 92% times out of the year, they're going to come knock on your door for a hit. Who wouldn't depend on that?
And out of that 92%, let's just be honest. A lot of us grew up voting Democrat because our ancestors told us that's what we were supposed to do.
So let me ask you.
I'll be honest with you, bro. Within the past couple of years, I wasn't politically correct. I went in there and voted everything blue. If it was red, it was dead.
I mean, one of the reasons I go so hard for the right, and I used to work for Democratic senators. I worked for the same people you see on TV. They say Clyburn saved Joe Biden's last election. I used to halfway work for Clyburn. I was too young to actually be paid at that time, but I've worked for many Democratic senators, got paid by them, and I saw the damage I did to my community. These people are the worst people, are the last people that we need. Look at their agenda. Look at their agenda. You bring up the Department of Education. No. But you just sat here and said, Wesley, that, we don't just work for the government. Yes, you do. Most black people are government employees. Most black people are a teacher. when we talk about voters, black people that vote, Democrats, because we can't count private sector workers that don't even vote. Most black guys in the Democratic Party are teachers, they're government employees, the women are teachers, the women are social workers, the women are government employees. Or they wouldn't be sitting around crying about cuts to the federal government. It's that simple. If you weren't government employees, you wouldn't be sitting around crying about the government.
You just made it. So you're making a point based off people saying that it's not good to just destroy whole entire departments. He just went ahead and fired a bunch of people in the nuclear and from our nuclear agencies and had to rehire them because he didn't know where they worked at. We're talking about just
because when you run something, like when you're an entrepreneur, right, and you're running something like a business, you will make a mistake. When you're a Democrat, you just pretend like you never made a mistake. You just say, "Oh my gosh,
a mistake is not coming. A mistake is not coming."
Oh my gosh, kill Trump. Oh my God, no, we didn't do anything wrong. We're the perfect people ever. No, on the right side, you can make a mistake, and you can say that I just made a mistake, and then the voters that voted for that are going to say that's okay. We'll vote for you again.
So basically you can call. Go ahead.
No, because I just want to say this, and I'm gonna let you.
Crazy, man. We're a month in.
I told you I like the sucker punch.
When you're a business owner,
I want to reiterate between Wesley and Cam. I'm listening to my brothers, right? I hear y'all going amongst each other, but ain't nobody really touched base on what my boy D-Max said.
Bill Clinton. I will go back into that.
No, hold on.
Super predators.
As far as what D-Max said.
I can't wait, man. Let's go.
Let me give you the roots of it, right? Let me give you the roots of it, because what D-Max just said was very fruitful. We need to start our own party. I mean, let's just be honest. We run everything, man.
We do. Technically, if you think about it, look,
we are the most
here in America. We are the entertainment. We are the most influential around the world. Anything. Look at. You can look at it from the Drake and you can look at the Drake and the Kendrick beef, right? Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, Drake is from Canada, but when Kendrick stepped up and stomped on him, everyone was like, "Oh wait, they're not like us." They're like, "Why is this song living so long?" And people don't realize it was a diss track, but it's also a pro-black song. And we loved it. We loved it.
People that watch.
Come on.
Hold on, but now you have to think about this too. Who owns these record labels? They didn't let that song out. The song got popular by itself. When's the last time you actually heard a pro-black song in the mass media? They don't play that. They play songs about us killing each other. They play songs about our women shaking ass.
I'm gonna forget what I was going to say. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? You have to realize what they look. We run this shit. We just don't want to accept it and take it because we still wait for these handouts. Just like I said, look, they took away the $19 million.
The Republicans are black conservatives.
All right, let me say what I gotta say, because right now, okay, we're talking about what we run. We're talking. Okay, you don't have a style in the Republican Party. It's like 4 or 5 of y'all that actually sit in the office in the Republican Party.
The black Democrat said, "You're voting for Trump for a $1,500 check." Biden called me black trash for voting for Trump. I put on a trash bag on election day. I take $1,500 to my trash bag. Went to the polls. They said, "Are those real $100 bills?" So come to find out, most black men don't even have $1,500. So who's
Biden said you're not black if you don't vote for him.
Okay, that's all great. Okay, this is great. Let me go ahead. You guys went ahead and we had a whole. I love this conversation because it's okay. We talk about how we should have our own political party. We already do. It's called the Black Caucus. There's about 50, 60 members in the congressional.
They ain't done nothing for us.
Okay. But the fact of the matter, how many? Let me finish. Okay, let me finish. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. First of all, how many black people are in the Republican Party are actually in the are congressmen, senators, any of them? How many? How many do they have? You guys probably like 4 or 5 total. That's including.
The number is so low.
That's including. You don't even know. 90% of you. 90% of you black too. Correct. So you're talking about us. You're talking about yourself too. Right. You're talking about yourself too.
So let me ask you this. Hold on. Time out.
Not a Democrat.
Hold on, Cam. Let me ask you this. Wesley, let me ask you this. When you just brought up a great point, man, and I love it because you just keep putting seasoning in my soup, and I'm about to cook because you just said, I'll be honest with you, I can't tell you the number of black people that's Republicans, but that's even more the point because guess what? The Republicans is still powerful and they're not putting black people out front. Now Trump did something to them that D-Max said 8%. He did something to them.
You froze.
No,
That's
he's
an ugly
talking.
way
I
to
can see him.
freeze.
He's
Oh,
good.
there we
I
go.
see him.
Okay, he did something to them. He's starting to take that black vote, man. Black people are starting to wake up and they starting to see because
88% of black men still voted for Kamala Harris. I think we just didn't show up.
Still vote like black women. I completely agree.
because they told them they was told to.
I want to rock with you on the Black Party. I want to rock with you.
I want to finish. Let me. At some point, let me finish. But I got me finish. It's just the action.
The old emotional Negro Foundation. They're too sensitive. They're too emotional.
I don't think there's any emotion to it. I think they've done.
White liberals want to be slave owners. Black Democrats have never been a slave, but they're going to tell you every reason on why they need reparations because of slavery. White liberals have never owned a slave, but they're going to tell you on why you're oppressed because their ancestors.
Okay, so we're not going to even get into the whole entire situation of what that financial reparations what it even means. Okay, we're not talking about whether you were a slave or not. We understand why the reasoning why black people. The reasoning why black people are the lowest in household wealth is due to the fact of slavery. Period. We've come a long way. We've gotten some that's due to the fact of slavery, redlining. We can go on and on and on and on.
Is because they were raised by poor black Democrats, so they became a poor black Democrat.
So why were they poor? And why were they poor? And why were they poor? And why were they poor? Let's go back in that.
Republican Party. You know when they said the party's flipped, that's when you went poor.
Like I said, man, the fact of the matter, if you look at where black wealth is heading right now, is we're on a trajectory that
the thing that's so crazy is when we speak of wealth. When we speak of wealth and when we speak of poor, y'all talking about it's really a mindset, right? So let's talk about
numbers too, but it's numbers. It's also numbers too. It's a numbers thing.
Numbers because I get it. But when we talk about rich and poor is the mindset. So when you talk about slaves and we was born by poor Democrats, they was at the end of the day, just like we can reiterate back to what D-Mac said. We really control everything. Forget reparations. We can just take it over. But because of our mindset, if we won't allow ourselves to do so.
People make
we have a very large population of highly educated people. The number one most educated people and trending upwards are black women. Black people are very highly educated. We're very highly capable. There's not a lot of us crying and complaining about government jobs. It's crazy to me that you've even also said that. What do you say?
Like you can't equate degrees to money in 2025. Like degrees aren't.
I value education. Education does matter. Education you can still show a trend line. You can still show it. You can still. I mean, whatever. The Department of Education still does not dictate what is being taught in schools. That's not even a fact. Department of Education
doesn't dictate the curriculum. Is that what you're saying?
They do not. They do not dictate curriculums in a particular state. States dictate their own curriculum. They give money. They basically fund and give money to states to help them fill in their gaps. That's what they do. Or they help with funding gaps for food
money directly to the state. If all the Department of Education is a middleman. Because you're saying
why did Mississippi just vote to say I can, or whatever it was, the vote just say I can put the 10 Commandments back in school if the Department of Education
Oklahoma did. Louisiana
dictating that. They don't dictate that. It's not a fact. But what I'm saying is this right here. First of all, so we're saying that degrees do not dictate wealth, as we both know that's not true. I mean, it does help. I'm not saying that there's no other jobs.
That's true. I think if you're still going off the statistics that it does, that's old data. Because if we want to argue black women are the most educated, they're still crying about being underpaid. And black men on the Democrat Party are still following them around with the crying with that. So
I think that's a fact. I think we don't cry about facts. Facts, you can't cry about facts. You have to bring facts up.
Number one, I wouldn't have a kid into this world to say, hey, son, we're going to sign up for the party that wants to do for the lower class. You know what we're going to do? We're just going to go to the upper class instead. But you're saying that black people are so educated. Black women have all these degrees. Why are they still crying with liberal white women in the streets about one, getting fired from the federal government, their number one employer, and two, about men making more money than them? So if they're more educated than these men, why isn't that they can't make the money in the private sector? from the government. They can just run the government. They could have voted Kamala Harris in with their degrees.
As a businessman, like you spoke out as a businessman, you understand that things take time. No matter what it is, whether you're running a business or whether you're running a country, especially with a country, things are going to take time. We've known for a very long time that women get paid less than men. That's just a fact. That's been a thing in our history of this country. That's just a fact. That doesn't. It has nothing. Whether you're educated or not. If I'm going to pay you more than I'm going to pay this person, it does not matter. We've seen black people be educated. We've seen black people get redlined out of housing where they couldn't live in certain places for a long time. We've seen them get their land eminent domain. I mean, it's happened for a long time. These are all just facts, man. I'm not disputing, how things are right now, but I'm telling you, these are facts that have gone on in history. The fact of now, the federal government is the number. I think they're the number 2 employer behind Walmart in the entire country. So
they're also the number 1 employer of black women. That's what you're not saying. The federal government is
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true or not.
Listen to a real capitalist, because I actually had to put in the research to find that out. The number 1 employer of these educated black women, your aunties, your mothers, your sisters, your future girlfriends, your future feminist wives, is the federal government. So prior to Trump, had you married these women, you would have been married to the federal government. And then you would have got a nice conservative president that would have came and split your life in half because he wants to save money.
I need to see facts on that. If they're the number 1 employer.
What I want to do right now, I want to show you this video. I showed it to Wes before, but I think we should watch it as a group. It's this gentleman off of TikTok. And he said some pretty moving stuff to me. And I just want to see what you guys think about what he said. Here, let me play the video.
People keep asking me, Andrew, what do we do? What's the plan? What's the next step? How do we save America from all of this? Baby, what do you mean? America wanted this. We chose it. There was a vote about it and everything. A quarter of us said no. Slightly more than that said yes. And more than half of us said they didn't care either way and didn't vote. Right? This is like somebody being on a roller coaster at the top of the very first hill. And they're saying, stop the ride. I want off. But we drove to this amusement park. We bought a ticket. We waited in line for hours while teenagers made out all around us. We sat there while the roller coaster went up that hill. There's no getting off this ride now. And you got to understand, Donald Trump and his cronies are not the disease. They are symptoms of the disease. And all of the things that swept Donald Trump into his second term as president, all of the hatred and bigotry and poor education and propaganda, all those things too are mere symptoms of the disease. And the disease is American culture. We're just not good, babe. Like, there are individually good people among us, but taken collectively as a whole, we're bad people. We're selfish and greedy and entitled and lazy and gluttonous and mean for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Getting rid of Donald Trump isn't going to save America, right? Donald Trump is the fever, and either the fever eradicates the disease or it eradicates the host. And I'm not saying don't do anything. What I am saying is that if you're looking for easy answers or quick fixes or secret weapons, there are none. Not anymore.
Can I go first?
Ooh,
Can I go first? All right, Leslie, you said bring receipts. Let me correct myself. It's not that black women it's not that their number 1 employer is the federal government. It's black people. Like I said a few minutes ago, the number 1 employer of black people in the U.S. is the public sector. So my YN's watching this. The reason why your uncles.
Now go look up. Now go look up the same exact thing for white people as well. Go look up white people as well.
Vote for the government is because they work for the government. The reason why white people aren't inclined to have to vote for the federal government, for the Democrats, is because they don't all work for the federal government.
Because a lot of them own their own businesses.
A lot of them are active in the private sector. They're just like the private sector hectares that came here illegally. They want to build their country. They don't need to just receive money for doing nothing in their country.
Did you hear the guy though? He said Donald Trump is like a fever. That was cold. Y'all didn't even catch that.
Yeah. No, I mean, when you said that, I was like, look, it makes sense.
Because sometimes you get the fever to get rid of whatever's in you. You're fighting. You dig. And right now he cooking. Donald Trump and Elon Musk. If they drop them, and listen, let me tell you something. If they drop them 5 bands in people's account, I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be such a shift. Come in the next 3.5 years, it's gonna be such a shift. What the Democrats need to understand is this.
People went crazier for that 1,200 than they did for them chicken sandwiches at fucking Popeyes, bro. You give black people $5,000, they're gonna ship quick. But the whole thing is they can't do it. All the money that they supposedly said, they just got rid of contracts and fired people. They did the math. Everyone would get $11. Every taxpaying American, $11.
Who did the math?
They did the also. It's an article I read. Who was it? It was one article. I could probably find it, but they did the math on it. It was $11. That's how much, since all the savings that they've came, the supposedly savings, but they just fire people, and a lot of these jobs weren't even government jobs. And like Wes said, they're looking for the people that were taking care of the nuclear stuff. They're like, no, they went to the private sector. You make more money in the private sector. The reason they're working for the government, it's for the benefits.
But let's talk about it. The 1,200, right? Didn't that 1,200 go towards the debt?
No, the stimulus checks, that was just to stimulate the economy.
Okay,
and that,
did the stimulus checks go towards the debt is my question.
Hell no. That should add it to the debt.
Yeah.
It added to the debt. That's what I meant. So it added to the debt. And what I say with Donald Trump and what Elon is doing, when they talking about the 5 bands, the thing that they said that was bottom line, it says is your money. So they giving you back money that these people up in here been sending over to overseas for unnecessary stuff and putting it in your pocket. If those checks drop, so many Americans is going to resonate with the Republican Party after that, because what the kind of power they're showing is that we're thinking about you first, regardless of what we doing to our own pockets. Yeah, we fatten our pockets. We know how to cheat taxes. We know how to put money in stocks, insider stock trading. I get it. But we're going to give you a little bit, you know what I mean? Like they got the people's mindset changing that they care about us.
Let me ask you a serious question now. I mean, we've had a whole entire referendum on the Democratic Party and who the number one employer of black people is. I mean, I'm sure that they employ a lot of white people as well. Just the federal government's the second largest employer besides Walmart. Of course, there's going to be a lot of employment in that sector. I won't say if they're the number one employer of black people or not. I don't know. But I voted to end that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's good. I appreciate that. I'm not disputing that point. What did you vote for? What did you vote for?
I voted number one, cut the government down. I voted number two, to get black people for being. I voted to get rid of food stamps. I voted to get rid of Section 8 housing. I voted to get rid. What were you going to say to get black people? What again? To get black people out of the Democrat plantation mindset, because I once was in that mindset. So everything that we see black people crying about, from Crockett to Maxine Waters, to every time you see a black person cry on the internet, Obama said he's going to get Michelle on us. I voted all of that. I voted to end all of that. I voted for this moment. So my young black kids can see this, that you do not have to join the 92% of blacks for whatever reason don't want to leave this party of people, because Biden said if you don't leave them, then you're not black, and Trump is racist, and Electric Man's bad, and Tesla's bad. I voted.
What did you vote for, though? Like, okay, that's fine.
I voted.
What did you vote for? Like actual policy?
Yes, you can be a felon and become the president of the United States. Yes, you can go up against this big machine, all this brainwashing, and still win. And that even when you do win, these same black people in the Democrat Party that claim that they want the best for you, young black man, and the best for your country, are going to sit here and hope that it all burns down just so that they can say that they were right. Because black men of today want to be right. They don't want to be rich. So come to the right side, my YNs. Come to the right side. I don't
feel going to the Republican Party is a smart move either, because they don't like us, period. They'll smile on our face. You know what I'm saying? They'll ask us for what they want, but they don't.
I don't care about who likes me. I don't even want to be liked. I want to be successful. Young black kids. It does not matter if somebody likes you. The Democrats love black people, and what did they do for them? Nothing. Trump hates black people, according to the Democrats, and what did he do for you? Free you from this plantation. It's not about who likes you. It's not about who makes you feel.
He's done nothing. That you have not said anything that he has done.
I mean, neither party has done anything for black people at all. Let's keep it like 100.
I won't even say just for black people. For the United States of America,
more money than any president in the history of the United States of America.
Do you know that he was going to cut? Do you know that he was going to cut HBCU funding into a black congresswoman, into a black congresswoman?
Are you a fact? The fact is, Trump gave more money.
No, it's not a theory. This is a fact. This is a fact. This is a fact.
He gave more money to the
100 a fact.
than Barack Obama. He gave more money than Kamala. He gave more money than Biden. Why are you so mad?
Can I say one thing?
We broke.
Can I say one thing? Cam, let me say one thing.
Let's get this. Let's
get to the point, because again, just like I've been telling my cousin Wes, and just like I tell D-Mac, y'all sitting up here arguing y'all against each other's opinion. Who cares your opinion, right? Your opinion doesn't make it right. It's your opinion. I'm just saying, let's talk about it. What it really boils down to, when I look at this screen, I see 4 kings. I see 4 gods.
Mm-hmm.
Period, point blank. I'm not worried about Donald Trump. I ain't worried about Bill Clinton. I ain't worried about Joe Biden. They in a whole different, stratosphere right now. What can we do collectively to help us?
That's what I wanted to talk about too. Like, what could we? Well, my bad. Let me speak with. What could we name our own political party, regardless of our views? Right. At the end of the day, we're all black people. We want to be successful.
No, we can name them YN.
No. You can't put nigga in the name. I don't even like when people say YN on online, because I know it's not black people making that name up. You know what I'm saying? They say that, so that's for white people to say nigga and not be called, claimed. Excuse me. That's for white people to say nigga and not have to say nigga when they put YN on there. It always it hits me. But I'm saying, as black folks, we need to just stand up on our own. I mean, we're gonna have to do it now. They're taking away all that shit. That's good. Section 8 need to go. Food stamps need to go.
I think those are all bad policies right there. Period.
It
doesn't make sense. It doesn't even make sense for economic. It doesn't even make sense for economic success of this nation.
They're not.
I can say like this. When you ask me,
they should change it. It should only be 5 years.
What they're trying to do is freeze it. You know what I'm saying? And then they have no other plan outside of that. You want to ask me what Donald Trump did? You want to ask me what Donald Trump did? Like, I won't say what he did to me, because he didn't do anything to me. He did it to the American people. I look at him. He ran up our debt by $8 trillion in 4 years. Nobody has ever done that. It took Obama 8 years to do that. 8 years. You know what I mean? He did that. That's what he did. And on top of that, he also attacked. I mean, we look at the Palestinian problem over there. Was he a part of that problem as well? Did he help precipitate that problem over there?
I don't care about no other country. Palestine.
Okay. That's fine. You asking me a question. Let me finish asking my question.
So
yeah, of course. I mean, we are. I think we. Do you think
one at a time, gentlemen? One at a time.
Is America just about America, or is America as a global economy? We're a global economy. You talk economics, you got to understand globally that's what makes America what it is our global presence across the world.
Countries' problems.
Is across the world is what that's what makes us rich. That's what makes.
You can't do business with poverty.
So you have to. So when you
Democrats go to third world countries, create chaos, and then come and take America's funds to launder it through a third world country. It's pretty simple to see. Of course, black Democrats can't.
This sounds like that. Like I said,
he sounds like he's woke.
No, he's Dylan facts. He's Dylan facts. No, he'll say anything. Go ahead.
Create chaos and then funder U.S. funds through the third world country. Is that
money
simple?
Laundering?
That's
why they sending 10 million over there.
Hey, if I was
or 50 million for condoms.
This is how I look at it. If I were willing to just say anything, then that we can have a real conversation. But I'm not just going to just say things like Democrats do this. We act like USDA. We act like USAID has not been around since 1960. Your president had USAID under his presidency as well too. Stop, man. That just doesn't make any sense. What we're saying right now. So everybody's had that. This is not a new thing, and we're acting like USAID does not help. Push the American agenda.
Did you hear they trying to
help Americans? How would foreign aid help Americans?
Did you guys hear that they're trying to
let me answer? Let me answer this question right now. How does foreign aid help Americans?
If your house is burning down, how are you going to be a fireman to the rest of the community if your own house is on fire? Please explain to me.
When you're the number one economy, how do we become the number one economy in the entire world? How did that happen? Was it by being nationalist? Was it by
America first?
That's not true. By the dollar becoming what the dollar is. That's what happened. When the petrodollar took off around the world, we were able to start controlling different shipping lanes around the world with our military. That's what helped America become a global superpower. That's what happened. Period. That's just like when who is not dealing with it? what you talking about? Because what you say? Why isn't Pakistan dealing with immigration?
The third world countries that America has to care for are not dealing with the immigration crisis. The subsidized countries are not dealing with the immigration
honestly,
crisis.
we're dealing with a self-made immigration crisis. We need the immigrants to come into this country. Our country is dying off without them. You okay? Fertility rates in this country are 1.4 to every 2 parents. That you can't sustain a society with that. You need new immigrants in this country. We need a huge.
You don't need third world poverty in order to sustain your population.
You need people, and it's a known fact that you
need to reproduce with third world poverty in order to sustain your population.
Who should you be reproducing with? Tell us that. Who should you be reproducing with?
D-Mac, what you got to say, D-Mac?
It doesn't make
I was online last. I was online last night, right? And they released some JFK videos. I don't know if you guys saw those last night. Did you see them when they released them? So there was 2 shooters in the JFK shooting, and I can show you the video. It's crazy because he got shot from afar, right? And then he got shot by his driver. The driver shot him. No, the driver shot him that was driving the car. They show him the guy turns and pops him in the head. Have you guys seen that video yet?
That's a rabbit hole right there, D-Mac.
Yeah. I mean, let's stick to the script right here.
No, it's not a rabbit hole. They have the video. Now, I saw it last time. I was watching. I was like, holy shit, he did get shot by his driver. You see homeboy reach over, pop him. And then keep driving.
When it comes to the immigration thing, here's the thing. Why do you think the Democrats trying to get the Mexicans? They trying to get the immigrants.
They're trying to replace us.
Because they know the black people are starting to wake up.
Yeah.
I think that we don't even
ask you this one question, and this is not has to do with the Republicans or the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you think that over in Russia somewhere, wherever in the Midwest, that part region of the world, they found a tomb in Russia, opened up the tomb and showed the whole Jesus being black and everything? Do you think that was real, or do you think it was obviously planned?
No, that's real. They have the Black Madonna.
It was obviously
in Europe.
Planned,
the statue.
And I'm telling y'all, they playing checkers. People thinking and moving like it's chess. They out here playing checkers, bro. So wake up
that's
and
why they stopped
realize
digging
that
stuff.
we are God's people.
Well, that's why they stopped digging, because they say this. I've watched this film Hidden Colors, right? It was moving, but they were like, look, the more they dig in the ground, the more blacker it gets. You know what I'm saying? And they know this. So remember, they opened up a tomb in Egypt, and before they got to wipe anything off the walls, they went in there. Nothing but black people with afros. If you look at the pictures of all the Egyptians, they all got afros and braids. When they dig up their combs, they're all picks. You know what I'm saying? But they don't. I mean, that's neither here nor there. Because that's not going to help us get money or do anything today. But it's true. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember I had a history book and had a white dude with the pharaoh hat on, and it's like that shit don't make sense. Because Caucasian people can't stand in the sun too long or they burn up. So shit don't make no sense.
What we're getting to here is that we have 2 people on this show right now who are very much pro-Trump, and I have not yet to hear of a policy that he's done.
It sounds like they're not pro-Trump; they're more anti-Democrat. Because as they see, like I saw,
he has a "Make America hat" great on right there, and he says 45, 47. They are very much pro-Trump in my eyes. That's a pro-Trump agenda.
You can't tell me that metaphor though wasn't fabulous. Because I mean, the movie is called All About the Benjamins, right?
Yeah, no, that was a good one.
When that movie came out, and he got the name of those numbers, everybody they said it in the country went and played that number on the lottery.
So
yeah. For Trump
I'm not
to be the 45th and the 47th, it's just like hitting the lottery.
Well, he's the last president.
I don't see a lottery that we're hitting. When you're like, we're talking about how everyone's so afraid because black people are employed by
checks, is over with.
If he hand out a $5,000, I mean, he's not. I mean, we all know that he's not going. There's not $5,000.
And it's gonna have his.
We know this. We know $5,000 is coming because his tax plan right now is to cut into Medicaid, cut into all kind of other social safety net programs that have been in place for a very long time.
Defund the Department of Education. Defund black liberalism. Anything that FDR came up with, anything that Jimmy Carter came up with, anything that a white liberal or a black Democrat came up with, defund it and watch this country thrive. Because that's what happened in 2016 to 2020, and the Democrats had to create COVID-19 to stop it.
Are you serious, man? Are you serious? I mean, you act like he wasn't riding off of Barack Obama's presidency with his presidency. He came in and doubled, almost quite tripled the deficit when he came into office. This is exactly what Trump did. Trump came through the door and damn near tripled the deficit with his tax cuts, with his unfunded tax cuts. The same thing. What did he do? What did he change? And then when he had his And then when he had his very first crisis, he failed. He showed the American that came up with this. So when a crisis,
you're such a Democrat. You're so Trump deranged that even if I sit here and tell you that the opportunity zones help black people, that the giving the HBCUs more money than any president gave help black people, you will still sit here and say that this white man did nothing for black people. So I mean,
I'm not going to say the opportunity zones did not help black people.
We had a black president that didn't do it.
We had a black president that didn't do nothing for us.
We had a black vice president female that didn't do it, but yet this white man that did it still didn't do it.
So you're saying that the money that he gave to HBCUs, which was, which was good. I'm not taking that away from him. I'm not going to say everything Trump does is bad. Hold on, let me finish talking. Let me finish talking really quick. Let me finish. I mean, I'm not going to say that everything anyone does is bad. I'm saying he's an overall bad president for this country, and not only that, he's a bad president for black people as well too. He is. He's very much negative.
Don't like the man.
No, I don't. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It has nothing to do with Trump. It's the people who vote for him. You know what I'm saying? That's who really that I look at. These are people who affect our country.
I didn't vote to give black people more food stamps. I voted for the best thing for America because the black people stop worried about.
Because you got a point. Because the first time Trump ran, the first time Trump ran, I live in Atlanta, and then they had the 85, 75 downtown Atlanta. It had to have been over. If I was to take a guess, because I'm not even going,
it's crazy.
It had to have been about 10,000 pickup trucks with the MAGA flag. Trump created Trump. I felt like the MAGA flag was more, because at the time that's when they was going through the whole Confederacy. I think he gave them people a voice. But let's just take for instance what he just did. Like we was talking, because he putting up these statues, right? He know where to go to win.
Yeah, to his constituency, the people either the self-hating,
the whole January 6th
or straight up. Go ahead.
The whole January 6th thing, he got a clique of people. That's what they went to the Capitol. Let me tell you something. How many young black men out here continue to get killed by the police? What niggas doing? I'm sorry about my French. I don't know. But what are black people doing?
They'll go march.
What are we doing? We complain too much.
They'll kill another black man. They'll kill another black man, but then they'll say, well, if that was us, we would have got killed, man. Okay, it wasn't y'all. And that's why I'm rocking with them folk, because them folk believe in something. Y'all don't believe in anything. The stuff you do believe in is fucking fairy tales. It's some shit that your grandma's
hold on, Cam.
Hold on. Let him cook. Let him
not
cook.
a part of the 92%, Hilltop. That's what I'm trying to say. I want to be a part of the cookout, but not a part with the 92%, because y'all are going to walk me into that burning building at MLK.
No. That's the difference. They're not going to walk you, because he again, I told you, it's all about this.
Okay, like I'm consistently say, man. I mean, under any Republican president, let me finish this real quick, guys.
You see what I'm saying? You got to persuade them to come over to understand it. Open their eyes, brother.
What understanding are we coming over to? Because every time a Republican's in office, they crash the economy. You guys act like you guys are in such. Oh, well, hold on. Let me finish this right here. Let me finish my point real quick here, because you guys talk about how I'm going over with these guys, but these guys are honestly, when you look at the people who vote for them, the poorer classes of America. Those are the ones who are poor. That's who they go to as their constituency, because they understand. Because they're that's not true. That's not true. I'm not talking about the racist or whatever, because we both know that's what it is. That's fine, because you're obviously happy to be suited up with the people who hate you, because you think you think you can buddy up with those people. That's fine. I'm not mad at you for doing that. If that's what you feel most comfortable at. If that's what you feel, I don't think anyone needs to be liked. I like to have a representative. I like to be represented in a room, though. Period. Because I know when I'm not in that room, I know who they're talking about. Period.
I'm not in the right place. So therefore, I would remove myself.
I mean, the stuff that you're standing for, it sounds like it's all negative towards your own people, but you call yourself black, and I'm not sure. It's hard for me to look at you like, is it? No, what you're saying is, I want,
which is 92%.
I want to get rid of this and this, but you're saying that black people,
anybody who doesn't rely on the federal government for a fucking payday,
you gotta have listened to him, Steve. You would know.
Let's be real, Wesley. Let's be real. Why wouldn't YA want to be associated with a self-made black entrepreneur that knows other self-made black entrepreneurs?
Do you think that? Do you think that?
Trump on Monday.
Do you think that most black entrepreneurs are Trump voters? I don't think that's true at all. I think that's far from the truth.
No, it's not. But most black entrepreneurs are broke as well. Most black entrepreneurs are not fucking successful. It's that simple.
It sounds like everything that you're saying about black people is that broke this, that, or
Come on, Steve.
I'm not even talking to you. Wesley, I'm not even talking to you no more. I'm talking to whoever this video.
I understand, but it sounds like what you're saying is, but it's not true though. But it's not true. But it's not true.
It's night and day. One wants to be a school teacher. The other wants to fucking go and just be Elon Musk.
Let's stop pretending that black. Most people who vote. Most people who are voting Republican are the poor class of America, uneducated and poor.
Why are black liberals
that's where.
Why are black liberal cities so poor? Why is Atlanta so poor? They supported Kamala. Why is Chicago so poor? They supported Kamala.
That's not even true. You know that Atlanta metropolitan area in Atlanta, the GDP of that place is higher than the GDP of the 6 states surrounding it. You know that? You know that?
I go to Atlanta every week.
Those are facts.
There is no place on earth that looks like Atlanta.
Those are facts.
Nobody's saying that there are not poor people in
if you've ever been to Portland, I'll say this. If you ever been to Portland, Portland is the worst. We live close to Seattle, but Portland's is something I've never seen in my life. Like as soon as you cross that bridge to Portland, nothing but homeless, all in the state.
I've been to Oregon. It's not Atlanta. Atlanta, Georgia looks like Haiti in America. Go visit. I will fly you on a Spirit flight now.
I've been to Atlanta. I've actually been to Atlanta more than once.
Under bridges.
I've been to it. You act like you want to sleep under bridges.
Atlanta ain't got nothing on Los Angeles, brother.
I mean, we act like there are not poor people everywhere. In larger cities, when there's more people, there's going to be people who are homeless. It just is what it is, man. Period. Who are the wealthiest states? Most of them are Democratic states, period, ran by Democrats.
Now they got to sell their houses. So
you know why? You know why they the most richest states? Because they got people depending on them, and they putting all the money in their pockets.
That's not true. These are the states who are paying the Republican states to even exist. You guys just will say anything. That's why it's hard for me to have a true conversation, because a person has to come with facts on here. That's why it's hard for me to come against people who will just say anything.
When you look into the blue liberal city inside of these wealthy states, they're shitholes. The people that's holding up these wealthy states are suburban whites. I don't say broke white Democrats. I say broke black Democrats. I don't say show me a banned white man. I say show me a banned black man. Because 98% of black men don't have $1,000 for an emergency, but 92% of black people vote for Democrats.
Let's say the majority of white people are also poor too. Let's say the majority of white people are also the majority of people who are the majority of people who are on welfare. Let's keep facts real.
Okay, if you want to argue that argument,
percentage-wise. It's not even.
Hey, Cam, where you get the number by saying 98% of black people don't got $1,000?
He just
that is blasphemy.
He'll just say anything.
Black men don't have $500.
He'll say he's willing to honestly.
Where you get that number from?
He's willing to say anything. I gotta pay attention. I'm saying when you gotta look at him, he's gonna say anything and just say it. That's a lot of people in America.
If you think about actually, they say about 98%, or let's say 92% of Americans.
How you doing, Steve?
Hey, Steve, how you doing? Welcome in.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can.
All right, welcome, Steve.
Welcome. Thank you. I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. When you have conversations like this, you really need to, you know what I'm saying? It's like we can't just say anything. You know what I mean? I understand that there's a lot of facts that we're making, but a lot of Americans don't have $1,000 for problems. That's a fact. When they look at Americans as a whole.
No, he still ain't found the source, because I mean, when you put such a frivolous comment out there, that's crazy.
You can just read it off to what do you say?
What it say?
72% of black households don't have $400 in liquid savings for an emergency. So
now go look up their counterparts too. Now go look up their counterparts too.
Even if you take out 26%, you still got to calculate the $100 less that they don't have.
Now look up Americans as a whole.
Look up Americans, but you don't have $400. Then you told me I voted for $1,500. I think that if I only had $400, I would vote for $1,500. I wouldn't continue to vote for $400. I would probably try to upgrade my lifestyle.
When that person came, when that person came and gave you $1,500, you don't understand. They took away all that. When we look at our the inflation rate that came after what Trump's presidency, and after, I would say, even after what happened with Bush, after all that, they took that money from you fairly quickly. That was gone. That went away and with inflation. Because in reality, when they gave you that money, someone had to pay that back. Just like when they took the last tax cut that he took, when he helped run up that $8 trillion in his 4 years, that had to be paid back by the American people. Just like when he's going to take this next 7 to 11 trillion in tax cuts, which are going to be unfunded again, it's going to have to be paid back by the American people. If my money is going to go into the system,
Wesley, it's going to be paid back by parents.
Wesley, let me ask you, how many of Biden's policies were funded?
Okay, let's start from, what do you mean by, are you talking about the CHIPS Act?
Yes, none of it was funded.
Okay,
none
now
of it was funded.
Let's go into that now. Let's go into that just piece by piece. When I'm looking at Biden's act, this Infrastructure Act, these are things that add into the economy because they create jobs. That, I mean, when you look at funding, okay, even with food stamps, $1 in food stamps equates like to $1.60 or $2 worth of actual funding into the actual economy. When you said the CHIPS Act, now we can create our own semiconductor chips right here in America. I'm in Arizona right now on vacation, and I went over to the Taiwan semiconductor plant they have here, which helped create 4,000 jobs. They're creating 4 more of these. You know what I mean? So that's a net win for the American people.
Okay, so if you lower taxes on a business, okay, if you lower business taxes on a business, they create. What do? They hire more people, correct?
Trickle down economics.
Yes. Not only that, hold on. That's not trickle down. That is economics 101.
That's trickle down.
When you lower the tax rate on a company, they get to hire more people. And guess what happens? Those people pay into the payroll tax for the country. Period. Correct. So your statement about the Trump tax cuts is kind of a. I hear what you're saying, but it's
factual. No, it's factual.
It's a reach. Not always.
I got a fact check. You got to come up with a fact check. Investopedia says Obama spent $8 trillion and Trump only spent $6 trillion. So Wesley, he spent over $7 almost $8 trillion. Trump $6.7 trillion. Obama spent $8 trillion.
I said in 8 years. In 8 years, he spent $8 trillion in 8 years in office.
Because of COVID?
He came into office with a $1.3 trillion deficit. The first year in your office, you always take on the last administration's budget. It just is what that's how it works. When Trump came into office, he had a $600 billion deficit left over by Obama. He ballooned that immediately by doing tax cuts for the wealthy.
You know what?
We got to do context.
I got a question. Hey, hold on, Cam. I got a question for each and every last one of you gentlemen. Let's spread it around because I feel like I'm on a camera with some real smart gentlemen. When y'all say the deficit, how can we be counting a deficit when we the ones that's printing the money? Like,
because
because printing more money makes us go further in debt,
and it blows up inflation. That's how inflation goes.
Who's controlling the debt?
Federal Reserve.
Who do we owe?
So explain the last 4 years of why we were in such high inflation.
Because of the previous administrations. So it's like, okay, when we walked in, if you look at the rest of the world, when we look at the last 4 years,
what happened in 2020?
COVID.
Our president did not handle a situation the correct way that he should have. We look at other countries like Japan.
A pandemic.
I mean, we act like there wasn't the Spanish flu of 1919. There have been pandemics before in the world. This is not the very first one. This is not the very first one.
Not early 1900s.
It was like 1919. But the point of let's look. Okay, but we look at how
how many businesses were created back in the early 1900s compared to today.
Let me finish. Okay, so saying that how many people have handled a pandemic, but then looking at how other countries handled that pandemic and came out of it way better. We had the most deaths out of anyone for this pandemic.
How many people do they have? What's their population?
Look at India. Look at China.
What's their infrastructure like?
Are we serious right now? I mean,
well, I want to make a comment on something. Hold on. I want to make a comment on something Steven said about businesses. They're not really hiring more people. I don't know where you live at, Steve, but here in my area, they're doing.
I live in Georgia.
Oh, nice. They're doing more with less. Like when you go to like Walmart, you go to the grocery store, they have less employees and they have more robots. You know what I'm saying? There's more self-checkouts. Like when I go to Walmart, I got to stand in line for a good 10 minutes because there's more self-checkouts. When you go to a fast food restaurant, there's like 2 people working
back the opposite way now. If you look at some of the Walmarts, especially in this area and around the surrounding area, even in Atlanta, they are going away from the robots because of people stealing everything.
Yeah.
So they're going back to having people at the checkout. So I mean, I
guess we're in different areas because where I'm at, it's like they're cutting a lot.
I mean,
they're cutting a lot of people.
I feel like Amazon's going towards robots. Everybody's, but the point of it is, though, we look at
that's Amazon's plan. That's Amazon's plan. Yeah, you can't fight it.
I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad. I just understand that's where it goes. That's why I also understand that when you start coming in and trying to cut off at the legs, the upward mobility of certain classes of people, I understand there's nowhere else to go back to. That there's nowhere else to fall back into.
That's the thing. Y'all are so Trump deranged that you don't even listen to the plan. These people that have lost their jobs with the federal government, these people that are going to lose their job, the Elon Musk's robots are going to get universal income from Starbase because that's what's going to make all the money to support this bullshit. We were already subsidized for these untalented humans that wanted to work for the government for the rest of their life. We already lost money there. It's nothing new. It's nothing new under the sun that, okay, we still have to support a class of people that don't really add value to the economy. We'll still do that. It'll just be a universal people that work.
I mean, just like when
this government's bloated. You have to shrink the government in order to bring down the deficit. You have to.
You know what I remember? I remember when
this the economy employs way too many bureaucrats.
You know what's crazy? Like when we had the first recession, right? I remember people had that makes sense because when we had the first recession, a lot of people lost jobs, right? But they lost jobs because they had stupid jobs. You know, one person had a job where someone would hand them a sign and then they just hand it off to somebody and that was their job all day. And they just cut that person out. So I remember them doing that. But I mean, the federal government, the jobs they're getting rid of now, a lot of them are important jobs. We don't know what they do. Just like the EPA, a lot of those people, they go out and they try to make sure that, the water's clean. You know what I'm saying? There's not a whole bunch of, brush somewhere, and they're firing these people. So I just feel like it's building for a disaster later on. We're not seeing it now. We're just saying, hey, we're saving money.
The whole ideology,
like any other business in the world. If you are bloated, you have to cut costs. And where do you cut costs at? You cut costs at employees. Employees that have redundant positions that they don't need them at anymore.
They don't even know if they have redundant positions or not. They just came in a month in office and started slashing jobs. That's where they've had to rehire so many people back because they didn't even know what they did. These people, hold on, time out. Let me finish really quick. Let me. What'd you say?
The world
so you're saying the government doesn't have redundancy in their positions?
I'm not saying there's not, but I think you should go in with a surgical. If you're going to do it the right way. Don't come in and tell me later I'm going to make mistakes.
USAID, is that the right way?
I think USAID brings in a lot of great things for our country. If we act like we don't understand who we are in this world and what good USAID does. I mean,
how about that trans show over in Ireland? Was that good for the country?
I don't know. I don't
know. See video of it, or it didn't happen.
The trans show or anything like that.
Sesame Street in Peru.
I think they said. I don't know if they even said gay Sesame Street or not. I don't know anything about that. I don't know.
No, that wasn't a gay Sesame Street. That was Sesame Street in Iraq.
Exactly. And it wasn't. This is what I'm saying right here. It has to be facts. We can say anything. We can all sit here. Let me finish. We can all sit here and just spit out stuff and say anything. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. How many of you guys have traveled outside this country? I have. I've traveled outside this country. What I learned when I traveled outside this country is that a lot of people learn who we are as Americans from the television shows that they watch about us. They may even learn English from that and learn to love and respect America. So to push your ideology through Sesame Street or whatever you choose to push it through helps America. That's a big thing.
They aren't playing Housewives.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, what do you? How can you say that you have never even been to speak to somebody that people respect?
Have you traveled the whole United States of America? Have you ever been to Alabama? Have you ever been to Mississippi?
I've been to Mississippi. My cousin lives there. I have.
Have you ever been to Alabama? So therefore, you never traveled.
I've been in New Orleans. I could the whole United States of America, brother. That's a lot of places to go, man. I've traveled a lot.
Exactly. I've traveled. So how do you know that your influence isn't better? Or how do you know that your mindset isn't more woke for the outside of America? Because you seem to want the worst for your country and the best for the third world countries.
I think I want the best for my country by understanding. I think I want the best for my country by understanding that we are not an isolationist nation. We can never be. We can never be. I think that's the worst thing we could ever get into is being isolationist.
We don't have to be isolationist, but we can watch what we do outside this country.
Absolutely, we should.
Paring back on what we spend outside of this country. If we don't, we are not going to exist as a country the way we see it today.
$41 billion is what we spend outside this country. $38 billion of that is for medical aid and food. The other $3 billion are for pet projects. When I'm not saying it's a fact. It's everything that's in USAID is public record. everything in USAID is public record of how much they spend in USAID. You can look that up to. It's $41 billion a year. Whenever I bring facts to the table, I try to make sure I've already vetted all my facts. This is what I do. I try not to say things that I don't know. That's why I don't disagree or agree with certain things you guys say if I've never heard it before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it says roughly 44 billion. The big picture 2000 fiscal year, USAID distributed roughly 44 billion of aid across 160 countries and regions around the world per agency foreign assistance dashboard. Ukraine was the top recipient of foreign assistance funds of
our budget
in 2003 with over 16 billion issued.
So we have to also understand that this aid helps other countries. That's good for us. It's like a person. It's like a rich person
in your own country that sleep under bridges.
You know what the funny part about it is? I love when you guys use that viewpoint because you never vote for that. As Republicans, you never vote to help those people, and Democratic states do. We vote to help those people, but you guys do not.
Democratic states? Do you live in California?
We gave Gavin Newsom the money to fix homelessness. It just created the problem even worse. Every time Democrats
I've definitely been to California. I'm gonna answer that question yes, I've been to California. But we act like, okay,
is that not the worst state for homelessness in this country?
It's the largest state in this country. It's the largest state in this country.
Cost of living is ridiculous where we live.
It's about the amount of homeless that are there that they do nothing.
Okay, about. I bet you.
Somebody from China wants to come over and look in San Francisco, then they kick everybody off the street.
I guarantee.
Well, see, the thing is with homelessness, they put money aside. And someone said this: they put money aside for people to try to fix homelessness. But if they fix homelessness, those people are out of a job. But like I said, Steve, I'll agree with you on that. Because Georgia, the cost of living down there is probably, just like Texas, it's affordable. Up here, you try to get a 3-bedroom, it's going to cost you $3,000. You know what I'm saying? And you can't, and the jobs don't pay you enough.
Georgia ain't affordable. Shoot, I paid $3,200
and most of these southern states right now, are the same states that are getting money from these same blue states that they're sitting here villainizing. They look at California. California pays more into
money. California calls us the country money. Little old Mississippi does not call the country money. What are you talking about?
California pays into the federal coffers. There's more red states do not pay into the federal coffers. California does. It's a net gain for.
Why are you guys crying about getting?
Okay, so ask yourself. You just said it yourself. They're the largest state in the country. Yeah. That's why they pay so much.
No, but they're also productive as well. I'm not mad about it. I'm giving a fact.
Then why is everybody leaving California?
A lot of people are, but we say
everybody. A lot of people are coming.
200,000 people leave. You got about 40 million people.
No one's moving to California. No businesses are moving to California. That's how you tell how California is growing.
Do we know that California right now would be like the 6th or 7th largest economy in the world if it were to break off from the union? Let's stop it, man. We have 200,000 people leave. Who cares? It's still 40 million people there. It's by far the largest state in the union.
It's not about the people living there. It's about your businesses leaving there.
There's certain businesses that are going to leave, certain businesses that are going to go. It just happens. It's part of life. I don't agree with all of Californians. I don't need to be a defender of California to tell the truth about it and be factual about California and what it is. It's the tech capital of the whole entire United States. Probably one of the best tech capitals in the world. It's factual. That's a fact. Just like New York,
that's changing
financial centers. I would argue that Austin, Texas beats California.
Even Dallas, Texas is getting bigger than most of the places in California.
I know they got a couple people moving down there. They have some plans from Elon, I guess, Meta, a couple other places. But like at the end of the day, we look at the raw numbers, the raw data. We don't have to say what is or what maybe could be. The fact of the matter is, California, Silicon Valley, that's the center of the universe when it comes to tech. Right now,
they couldn't even build a light rail. What do you mean that's the center of the universe?
They're building the first high speed. They're building the first high speed rail. All the homes that are in the way are burning down, so they're getting to it. It's going to take them a year or two.
They're building the first high speed rail. They're building the first high speed rail in America, in California.
Is that how they're doing it?
But Trump's trying
to it's crazy. All the homes, like even the fire that started in the Palisades, and the fire that was that happened before in California, it's all due to the electric company. All those houses, they're like, hey, why did just the houses burn down and not the trees? It was the wiring, because the wiring was so old, it burned all the houses, just followed it. And just like the ones in the first fire in California, it was a spark. They found it. It was just a spark, and it just started and burned all the houses down. It was from the electric company.
They burned down them houses because
Did they find that video of Gavin Newsom doing it yet?
You know how much work, how much money that land is worth now. All them houses that burned down.
And they're also making them so they can do multi-units on them as well too. But the fact of the matter is,
they made more money.
Again, I want to ask you guys this question. Real quick. what did you guys vote for? You guys have told me what you vote, what you vote. What did you guys vote for? Because I haven't seen him do anything.
Okay, you want my honest answer?
Well,
yes.
Oh, one at a time, please. One at a time, please.
Democracy.
What, one more time?
I voted for democracy because you want to talk about an existential threat to democracy is installing somebody without having a democratic process to elect them.
I agree on that.
I won't say that I'm totally against that, but there was a process in place to have her.
There was no process in place.
Other people could have ran against her, but they did not.
You would not allow any other primaries for that.
You asked the question, and he said democracy. Democracy is a good answer because here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you straight up. Biden did this to the Democrats. Biden set y'all up because Biden knew. When Biden endorsed Kamala to be the candidate, what was the Democrats supposed to say? No. She's the sitting vice
They did
president.
come out. Some came out. They came out. They were like, nah, we need to have a primary. And he was like, no, it's fine.
The ones that spoke didn't have enough power.
That's not even.
That's how. Hold on. That's how Kamala came about. Biden knew she didn't stand a chance, and Biden felt a certain kind of way. Y'all want to push me out like right now? So, okay, I'm going to do y'all one better. Once he endorsed Kamala, the Democrats couldn't have fought against that because they would have looked at weak. They had to go with her. They had no other choice.
I think they looked worse when they were talking about his mental decline and they were trying to hide it from everybody.
Listen,
and then when the world saw it, they were like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody said, oh, y'all want to push me out after all I did for y'all? I won Barack Obama the presidency because we needed Pennsylvania, right? Wasn't he the senator of Pennsylvania?
No, he's just from Scranton, Pennsylvania. He's just from
Let's bring him on in so we can get this black man in. Like that ticket was so weird, but it did what they needed to do to get over the finish line. You see what I'm saying?
How I look at this right now from a whole is that I'm hearing that I voted for democracy when you watch people attack your capital on January 6th and try to usurp democracy. Not only on top of that, he sent in fake electors to 7 different states who are being convicted for this, convicted for this, and tried to tell people and tried to force his vote onto their state. I think it was Georgia, wasn't it? It was Georgia. I think it was either the governor or the voting official, and told them he needs them to find 11,000 how many ever votes. I mean, so you didn't vote for it's hard to. I won't say you didn't. I'll say it's hard to say you voted for democracy when something like that is going on, and this is a direct affront to democracy. His whole entire presidency.
So he's not having a primary for a president.
Okay, but the rules for the Democratic Party is okay. Someone else could have ran against her and tried to see if they could have got the super delegates.
Said no.
No, they did not say no. They did not. What happened was no one stepped forward. No one stepped forward. They didn't even have enough time, really.
That's what it was. They didn't have the time to do it. They didn't have it because if they had the time, they would.
No one wanted this. No, they didn't have it. It was July. It was July. They were about to have the Democratic National Convention in August. 100
days.
Ain't no president.
The election, though, you're running against a major. You have to. By the time, don't get me wrong. I'm not agreeing with what happened, how they pushed Biden out and everything. I mean, honestly, Biden should have left beforehand. He left too late. That was kind of on him. He should have already spoke up and said, you know what? Because my personal feeling about Biden, I think he did a great job as our president. That's my personal feeling about Joe Biden. Period. I mean, I can address the things that need to be addressed and stand on why I believe that. But I think he left too late. I think his cognitive decline set in, and he thought he could still do it. You know what I mean? He felt that, I get up in the morning, I think I can make something happen. It's like us as being men. We get up and we might be injured or tired. We're going to still get up and go take care of our business for the day, whatever it is. I think he felt that way. But once that debate showed, it was a wrap. They knew they had to get rid of him. He wasn't there to beat Trump. And so that's why they did what they did. That's my personal opinion.
He had a better chance than Kamala. I bet you that.
I mean, as far as him being a man versus her being a woman, I would say that'd be the only other thing, because in reality,
that's another thing I didn't agree with. I didn't agree with all the people on the left saying it was misogyny, it was racism. It wasn't that. She was just a flawed candidate. How many during the primary in 2020? How many people did she get to vote for her?
No.
How many? Zero. She had nobody.
In
She was a slaughter
2012, in
candidate.
2012,
She was a DEI candidate.
Come
Right.
on.
She didn't stand a
That's a
chance
tough one
then.
right there.
That's why.
That's
That's
a
why
What did Joe
threw her
Biden
to the
say? He
wolves,
said, "I'm not
man.
going to
Look
elect
at-
the best candidate for vice president. I'm going to
Man,
elect the black
Biden threw
woman
her
for
to the
president."
wolves.
That's
man.
what he said.
threw her to
Look
the
at
wolves.
how many votes did Trump get in 2012? You know what I mean? Like let's look at that. He ran for president in 2012. He
Was
didn't
he
get in.
president in 2016?
I mean, he did become
Okay.
president in 2016,
That's
but in
all it-
2012,
that's all
I mean, it happens sometimes. So what I'm saying is, I mean, Biden ran for president 3 other times prior to this, and got
That's
like
because he
was
lied
out-
to everybody
and was
and
out
had to
after
drop
the
out.
and was out after the. I'm just saying, this is most times when people run for president, sometimes they don't win the very first time. You work your way up.
Ran in 2012.
One more, yes, he did.
No, he
He
didn't.
ran in 20. Yes, he did. He threw his hat in the ring in 2012. He didn't make it that far. He dropped out immediately, but he did throw his hat in the ring in 2012. He did.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Look it up. Look at what I mean. Look up the fact
I
that
think,
Trump saying I'm going to run for president in 2012.
He ain't lying. He wasn't a major figure. Donald Trump ran. I think Donald Trump
He
was
didn't
running
push,
for
but
president
that was his first. That was his very first push to even talk about being the president of the United States.
He ran
Yeah,
in
just got
2000, in 2000, 2016, 2020, and 2024.
Well, whatever. I mean, but I know
And he
in
never actually
2012,
joined the race in 2012.
but he
Never
did.
actually
But he
joined the
did
race.
bring up the. You know what I'm talking about. But he did
would
bring
just-
up the
he
fact that I'm
criticized
going to
Obama
join.
on Twitter. That's all he did. He never ran for president in 2012. He would have beat
Okay.
Obama.
I mean,
He
in
would've won.
2000, he ran in 2000, whatever. Well, he wouldn't have beat Obama in 2012. He wouldn't have beat Obama. He wasn't ready.
No, he wasn't
Nobody's
beating
going to beat
Obama.
Obama. In
Yeah, I mean,
2012.
period. That wasn't.
Yeah,
But I
nobody.
mean,
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is, he's thrown his hat in the ring. Whether it was like, oh, I'm going to dance with the idea or not. In 2012, he did that. Everyone heard about it, but he knew he was not going to win. He wasn't prepared that year. He wasn't prepared to win in 2016 when he did win. He didn't think he was going to win in 2016.
Let me ask you guys. Let me ask the panel a question here.
I will agree with that. I'll agree with that about.
Let me ask the panel a question here. Recently, Donald Trump, he had made a statement saying "Long live the King." He had posted a post. He said a quote from Napoleon Bonaparte, and they're starting a project saying, for a third term. How do you feel about Donald Trump becoming a dictator? Or would you be okay with that?
Hold on. Obama had a third term because Biden was president.
Nah, come on. He wasn't there. But I mean, it's a real thing.
Listen, I don't see Donald Trump getting a third term.
No, he's not going to try it for a third.
But
That's
what
just
I
not
can see, what I do see,
I'm
what I
ready to
do
anyway,
feel.
guys.
What's the vice president's name?
JD
You
Vance.
guys are
JD
taking him way
Vance.
too literally. You know
They're
that?
grooming Vance, because I'm telling you right now,
Yeah.
Vance is very smart and he's young.
I think that
He had a good debate against
Peter
Thiel.
You know Trump
The-
said
the
stuff just to rile you
listen,
guys up,
the
right?
Republicans will hold the office for the next 12 years. Mark my words. I'm gonna tell you that.
This is
right now.
I mean,
You guys
I
fall for all the stuff that he says all the time.
don't think
Half the time he's just messing with y'all because he
be pretty serious. That's how I look at it.
I think that as being the president of the United States, I think most things that you should say should be what you should be
I think
on point about what you say.
I think we need a dictator. I think he needs to run until he dies. He needs to reign power until he dies. After
This is what I'm telling you. This.
Hey, let him be honest. Let him talk.
I ain't mad at you, though. I ain't mad at you. Go
his
ahead.
son, you need to go. Donald Trump
Barron.
Jr., Eric
Barron.
Trump, he ran corporations at a very young age. He's deputized in Florida. After him, go Barron Trump. You don't need any more white Democrat. You don't need any female press. You don't need none of this stuff that they pushed down our throats for the last 20 years that got us absolutely nowhere. You need dramatic change. You need dramatic change. That's
Trump
what you need.
Trump has been net bad president since he got into office in 2016. He was a horrible president.
Why is his favorite
Biden
through the roof?
One more time.
Biden was even worse.
Why is his approval rating at the highest it has ever been?
It depends who you
Right
want.
now? Are you talking about right now?
It depends who you want. It depends who you want.
I think you need to look that up and probably go with a clear poll or something like that with all of them. Don't just go with Rasmussen or something like that.
I'm told
PX or something like that.
Check this out. You guys can answer the question. How many people have ever came around you and asked you to take a poll? You've actually really? I've never been called for a poll. I've never been called for a poll. I've never been called for a poll.
It was an exit poll.
Oh, really?
But I mean, like I'm saying, we can sit back and talk about favorability ratings. I'm talking about facts. He was a horrible president. He ran the country just like he ran the country into the dirt. Biden actually, if you look at the overall economic picture of the entire world over the last,
by now he doesn't even remember he was president.
I mean, whether or not he remembers,
Right.
I'm talking about the economy.
That's
Let's talk
true.
about the economy. Let's stick onto the
It-
where the economy was.
Okay, let's talk
We don't know.
about
We
that.
can-
That was funny.
How high did inflation get under Biden?
It went. I
Over
think it went all.
9% inflation.
I feel
Okay, so what's the cause of inflation?
Not printing too much
Printing
damn
money.
money.
Oh,
Because
so
you
did
don't
Biden?
have the money to pay
So
for
did
policy.
so this
You're
happened. That
printing
9% happened in the summer of 2021 when he first got into office. Did he print all that money that quickly? No, it was not him. It was the previous administrations before him. It's when what happened was when Trump
No.
got into office. The problem
They were both to blame.
How are you going to blame me and I'm running under your budget? His first year is under
Because you-
under Trump's budget. Anything he does is going to go into the next year. If my inflation is 9% in the summer of my
Because
very
of-
first year, how are you blaming me?
Leslie, what were we under 2020 and 2021? It was called a pandemic. We were spending so much money to try and keep this country
Who
afloat.
was the president?
Both presidents.
Who was the president?
But the pandemic didn't stop when Biden came in either. They both presidents, yeah.
When the pandemic hit, who was the president? Who dealt with the initial blow up? If I'm the president of the United States and there's a pandemic, my response to that matters.
How much
correct?
money did Biden spend on COVID?
I'm not absolutely sure.
350 billion. 350 billion.
That's cheap style compared to probably what Trump spent on it. What is
That was
Trump's probably spent
Biden
some
came-
trillions on it.
Biden came when COVID was essentially over. COVID never was a thing. Maybe in your West Coast liberal cities it was a thing.
Gosh,
But in
man,
the real
COVID.
world, it's not a
Okay,
thing.
it wasn't real,
$6
right?
trillion. Biden
Yes.
spent $6 trillion in COVID relief.
I don't know. He spent. If they're saying he's, I'm not sure.
Congress
I
passed
can't.
6 trillion. Congress passed
6
6 trillion.
trillion on COVID relief.
But what
That's
did
a
it?
lot of
No,
money.
wait. But what did it go into though? We don't just let's not use it as an overall. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there were different agendas within that
2021.
$6 trillion.
After he became president.
I'm sure there was. That happened in 2021.
Yeah.
He spent $6 trillion. They created a budget for $6 trillion in 2021 for just COVID.
You don't
It's
create
5.4
budgets for that.
trillion.
No,
It was
what I'm saying,
5.4
okay, whatever, a bill. What bill was that?
Mute myself.
You get
Let me
what I'm
ask
saying?
you a question. Let me ask you a question.
You can't create a budget for that.
I'll
A
be
bill.
honest with
I'm
you.
sorry, it was
I'll
a
be
bill. It
honest
had
with
to be
you.
a bill,
I get
correct?
mind
Yeah.
boggled. D-Mac, follow up with me. Follow up with me. I get mind boggled. I hear you gentlemen over here talking about trillions and dollars in deficit. That is above our pay grade. Let me ask you a question. Why does that matter to people like me and you?
Because then that's what causes inflation. That's why our prices go up because of all the money that was spent. It's like when Trump first got into office. I mean, he should have never cut taxes on the wealthy. That should have never happened. I mean, when you got those low interest rates, you cut taxes on the wealthy. You want to drive interest rates even down even further. That's going to put more money.
Between Democrats and Republicans, it's 2025. Why hasn't either party raised the federal minimum wage? Why is it still $7.25?
Because you'd put people out of business.
Hello.
$7. I think every state's probably above
Oh,
$7.
no.
No,
Not every
they're
state,
not.
but
Not in Georgia.
federally. But
What's your minimum wage in
federally, the
Georgia?
Minimum wage. Let's just be honest with you. When we talking about the states of Mississippi,
Minimum wage here is
Louisiana, Alabama,
$7.25.
these states really can't continue. You can't pay nobody in them states $20 an hour to work at McDonald's. But my thing is we talk about the deficit, but the federal minimum wage
Minimum wage in Georgia says $5.15 per hour.
That's crazy.
No, that's not true.
So
That's-
my
That's not-
question is why whoever's spending whatever they spending matter when it don't affect us directly.
It does.
I
But
had a
it does
conversation
affect-
with my cousin Wesley. I said, listen, I'm 44 years old.
Yeah, it says, hold on. It says the minimum wage in Georgia is
$7.25.
$5.15 per hour, although most not exempt employees must be paid at least the federal minimum wage of $7.25.
Yes.
$7.25. So let's just be honest. All the gentlemen that's on this screen, as long as y'all been living, don't matter who's been a president, you guys go to work, handle your business, and take care of your bills the same way, no matter who's in office.
All of that is
You've been doing it.
because
Nothing really changes in our household now.
That's not true. You can't, and we can't put that message out to black kids because that's just not true. Because when you do business, you cannot do good business unless you know politics. politics. And when you know politics, then you can do business, which is why liberals don't get rich until they go into politics, and which is why Trump, an already rich businessman, got into politics, which is why Elon Musk, an already established entrepreneur, got into politics, because politics affects business.
Good businessman, Donald Trump. You said Donald Trump, a good businessman. Did you say that? He's a good businessman. How many properties
do you own, Wesley?
I own several properties myself. I don't own as many as Donald Trump. I don't own. I'm not, but I also didn't get 100 million. How many hundreds of million? Exactly. None. Zero. Not one.
Build your empire back up.
Okay, but I also wasn't given $400 million by my dad or whatever it was. I wasn't given that. I didn't have that opportunity, but I appreciate his dad for doing that for him.
So Doge should provide receipts for how much money they're saving us, but you can't provide me receipts of his dad giving him $400 million. But you said we just sit up here and say stuff. So you not see how you're emotionally led.
The first he said my dad provided me with an initial loan when I first got into business.
You said $1 million. You said
and that was off top. That's not including the money that he provided him down the line.
What are you talking about?
I think the angle he was going with that is
he understands. He just wants
to. The whole
I like his argument. But I like him to
type of opportunity. The silver spoon type thing. Because let's just be 100%. Because Cam, I was kind of confused, but then it started to come to me because I see you over there in your Sunday's best. So I'm thinking like, is you over here politicking like you a politician, or did you just come from church? I thought you just came from church, brother. But I can see you on here politicking.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He's really taking this real seriously. He's trying to come ready. I like it, though. I like it.
I want to reel you back in a little bit. I want to understand and help you understand what you're saying. I get it, businessman. Let me tell you. 2 years ago, I became a 3 years ago, I became a business owner. Okay? Before I was a business owner, I was an employee. I drive trucks. You see the name. I made 80, maybe 90,000. Now that I own my own business, I'm in the six figures. So I'm starting to learn when it comes to owning a business. And I'll be honest with you, as far as what Donald Trump is going to do with the tax cuts, it's going to benefit me. That puts more money in my pocket for me to invest in my kids' future, to invest in my business and go forward like that. It's not really affecting me what that man does or what the people on the left hand of the aisle do. My thing is, as we can go, I'm going to keep going back to what D. Max said. Everybody needs to understand when he said 8%, how many was the total votes? I think Trump only won by 2 million total votes, and 8% was blacks. 8%. So just imagine. We outnumbered in this country. That's why they want to bring in the immigrants. They're trying to bring the black people
by 2 million votes, but it was an electoral landslide. Like the first 2016, he didn't win by any votes. He lost the popular vote. He won by the electoral college. So nobody's relying on the black vote except for the Democrats. That's just real. Like you can't rely on the black vote because 92% of them are going to vote for Democrats. So like what you're saying, if it doesn't affect you in Washington, then why won't businesses go open up a business in California, and why do they flock to Nevada where the taxes are at an all-time low compared to opening a business in blue California, Democrat California, where the taxes are all-time high? Because politics affect business. The more you do business, the more successful you become, the richer you get. Elon Musk, you realize I'm at a threshold, I'm at a limit if the politicians are 1, stealing the money, 2, laundering the money, 3, taxing me to death, and 4, not promoting capitalism. If they're going to promote communism and socialism, you can't thrive in an economy under communism. You just can't.
So we're about almost a 70%, in consumer-based economy. Consumers are our economy. Period. Plain and simple. It's the people who actually go out and buy things. When you tear down the middle class, that's what all the upper middle class, lower, whatever you want to call it, that whole sector is what drives America's economy here and around the world. Period. Plain and simple. That's why people love America. And we also, we're the second largest exporter in the entire world as well right now with our same exact policies that we have in place. So when you tear down the middle class, which all Republican, your ideology as far as economics tears the middle class down. That's what they're doing right now. How do you expect that to go forward? Businesses are great. Don't get me wrong.
You think the middle class works for the federal government? You think that's not the bourgeoisie?
What do you mean?
The middle class doesn't work for USAID. The middle class is in the private sector. The private sector Hector. Trump's not ruining the middle class. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't understand that. How's he ruining the middle class?
Okay. When you start
When you say middle class, that's
the only one's crying on
TikTok. I said upper middle class. What do we consider upper middle class? $150,000, $200,000 a year. That's still upper. 250 is even considered upper middle class. It's about $70,000, something like that. I think the average American makes like so. I mean, I know all these numbers, but let's be real here. We're not talking. Okay, so who's making 250 in Mississippi? Not very many people. Okay, so we're talking about in California where that 250 is really nothing.
People in Mississippi, tell me.
That's because taxes are so damn high out there.
Let me finish my you know what I mean, what I was really saying. I mean, when you look at, okay, when I go in, I'm saying I'm going to get rid of 100,000 jobs, 200,000 jobs. Do we know those?
You're just talking about the people in Mississippi. Nobody in Mississippi works for USAID. Seriously, like let's be real here. Like conservatives in Mississippi are now working for the federal government. Like where are you getting? What is Trump
I never said nothing about federal.
You
Mississippi,
said Trump is ruining
like
the working class's life right now. So how is Trump ruining the middle class?
Okay, let me finish, brother. Let me finish my point. You know what I mean? Okay, listen. When you get rid of 100,000 jobs, that's a trickle down. I mean, just when we talk about trickle down economics, we act like, let me finish. Let me finish. That's jobs. Those are jobs, brother. It's still a job, correct? They still get paid. They still pay taxes. They still get. It's still a job. They still get taxes. They still pay.
He's trying to finish. What he's trying to say is, okay, you get rid of 10,000 jobs in one area, right? Now all the businesses around there are going to be gone.
Let you one at a time, brother. You got to do one at a time so people can hear.
Jobs were created to make Democrat presidents look like they were creating an economy that they were not creating. Trump is a real businessman. He can see an economy for what it is. Oh, these are fake jobs.
So
the same way Biden created these jobs is the same way Elon Musk can get rid of these jobs. You cannot do that in the private sector. You cannot infiltrate the private sector like that because the market will respond.
The market is already about to respond once those 100,000, 200,000 jobs start going, because the same private sector jobs will be affected by those public jobs that have been. I mean, it hasn't happened yet. You act like these people have all been.
It's starting to happen. I just saw the article.
We understand that the economy is like a machine. It doesn't just do this overnight. But when those 100,000 people fall off rows, those people who paid for plumbers to be able to come to their house, roofers, people to be able to renovate their kitchens, those are people who are high earners. We act like that's not going to affect the corner store person or the grocery store. Those are all things.
Inflation. It's fake money. It's printed by the federal government to pay for federal government jobs. It's fake money.
That's what I've been saying. Why y'all keep talking about a deficit when we printing it?
It's fake money.
It ain't nothing but monopoly money.
Man, are you okay? Look, man, you saying it's the fake money? It's a fake job. That's still money.
It's still running. We're not nothing. The sky isn't falling. It was a fake job. Just a second.
I guess the way I can explain.
Man, it's a bad argument that you're having there.
Well, no, we haven't seen the effects of all this firing yet. We can say, okay, we didn't need those jobs. That's cool. It's only been a week. It's only been 2 weeks.
Sun still comes out. So in 2 years, when the sun's still coming out, are we going to come back here and gather and say, "Congrats, Trump, the sun still came out"? No.
I say let's wait 3 months.
Hey, I love your viewpoint, but your viewpoints are like you don't take into account.
If you really think that a lady with blue hair in DC was really contributing to construction worker in Mississippi's quality of life, you've been bamboozled, my friend. You've been West Coast liberal your whole life. Like I'm gonna be honest with you right now.
Let me help you understand what maybe Cuz was saying. When 100,000 people lose their jobs, right?
It's not a job. A job is created.
Hold on. I'm just trying to.
You gotta let one person. You gotta let somebody answer your questions.
Hold on.
Too,
I'm just trying to prove. I'm trying to get what he was trying to say. If 100,000 people lose their jobs, those jobs that they lost, they were qualified for, right? Absolutely. Now, when you have those 100,000 people lose their jobs, they're applying for jobs that they're overqualified for, which pushes the person who is qualified back a little bit more, right? Because
they were only qualified to work for the federal government. They're not actually qualified to do anything in the private sector, or they would have been in the private sector. You just said, Wesley, they don't work for the
I know people. It's just ridiculous to even say something like that.
So you telling me you can go have a federal job and then get fired, but can't go work at McDonald's after that?
Or not even
How
McDonald's.
hard it is to get fired from a federal job.
I mean, it's very difficult. I've watched people. My
mom said that too. It's hard to get fired from a federal job. Really hard.
Let me finish this.
You got to show up to work like high twice to get fired from a federal job. Like twice. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they'll give you a chance after the first one.
What he just said was basically that a person who works in a federal job is not qualified. It's just crazy to me because I know a person who went and worked in. Listen. Okay, a person goes and works. Say a person went and worked in HUD. They were working in the real estate sector before, for a private company in the real estate sector. I've known people like that. So what you're saying is just not even true. What you're saying just doesn't even make sense at all.
HUD is still standing. What are you talking about? HUD is not defunded.
Okay, so nobody's saying it's defunded or not. I'm not saying they lost their job or not. But what you're saying is that people who have a job in the federal government are not qualified to work anywhere else. That's what I was talking about.
The people that got fired.
They're not qualified to work anywhere else.
Don't really bring much. Don't bring much to the private.
You don't know, but you don't know. He didn't even know. That's why he had to go back and rehire 350 people that he hired.
Why are we in the private sector making all this money? Because AOC had to go to the government to become a millionaire. So did Jasmine Crockett. So why didn't they go to the private sector to become a millionaire like Grant Cardone or like Elon Musk or like they call Elon Musk stupid? But why didn't they go to? Why can't they go to
Elon Musk businesses were saved by government contracts, man, and by government subsidies. Period, plain and simple. But by the United States government, he's even spoke on this. He spoke on how SpaceX was saved because it was going out of business by the U.S. government, by NASA.
Tesla about to go out too.
And at the same time, he had just like Trump said in 2000, whatever 16 or 18 or whatever 20, he came in. And when he came in that year and he had to beg, he said he would have got on his knees and begged me if I told him to. Just like he had to run to China.
Here we go. Check it out. Hey, so far, it says at least 73 probationary workers and similar numbers of contractors. This is the Financial Protection Bureau. The Department of Agriculture fired 4,200 people. They're probationary employees. Department of Defense, they plan to cut 8%. Department of Education's they cut 60 probationary workers. Department of Energy, 1,000 probationary workers were fired. Department of Health and Human Services, 2,800 were fired, including 1,500 probationary employees at the National Institutes of Health. Department of Homeland Security, more than 400 were fired. Let's see. And Department of Housing and Urban Development, they're considering 50% of the employees are going to cut. Department
of
HUD.
That's HUD right there, right?
Yes, the HUD. Department of Interior, 2,300 probationary workers were fired. Department of Justice, more than 20 employees, including January 6th investigation of criminal prosecutors of Trump were fired. They had to go. Department of State, more than 10,000 probationary workers were fired. And the thing is, they took a lot of them that people have been there for 5 years, and they actually took it and they took the wording and made them probationary. See, that's what I'm saying. Right now, we can look at these jobs and be like, okay, you could say, like you're saying, hey, these people there, no, they couldn't do the jobs anywhere else, but we don't know the ramifications of it. I wish they would have stepped back and then, like, instead of giving them 15-minute interviews, actually took 2 months to see, what do you do in this job? What do you keep safe in America? What do you do before you fire them? Because like I said, they fired those nuclear specialists and now they can't find some of them. They can't find none of them. They're like, fuck it, I'm out. And I wouldn't want to live like that. I mean, no matter who you are or what you are, nobody should live like that where you get fired from your job on a weekend. Then they call you 2 days later, like, no, you need to come back because we need you.
We already live like that. We're in the private sector. Those of us that don't.
How often does that? That's an anomaly. That doesn't happen. If you get fired, you get fired. Not many people get called back.
They don't call you back. It's crazy. Think about it. I get fired from a job and they're like, hey, we need you to come back. I'm like, I'm not coming back. Fuck you. You can't fire me and then tell me to come back. You don't even run my life no more. I found something else to do.
So basically what we're saying is
run my life is crazy.
What we're basically saying is this, at the end of the day, he the way he's brought in Doge to do this, the same way he came in and did it at Twitter. He went and got rid of about 40% of his staff at Twitter, just fired them off. Now look at where Twitter is. It's in the
Twitter, you can do that. That's a website, bro.
I understand all that. What I'm saying is he's doing it the same exact way. That's the negative side of it right there. It's him doing it the same exact way as he did it at Twitter. That didn't work at Twitter. It's not going to really work for the federal government if you don't understand how these things work together.
when they go up in the Pentagon and get them boys? They about to audit the Pentagon.
They're not. That's all. They're just saying that, bro. They're not going to do nothing to the federal. The Pentagon hasn't passed. They haven't passed an audit in years. Leave them alone.
To the Pentagon,
they'll be fine. You're not messing. They're not messing with defense, bro. You start taking that money away, then that's how we start getting bombed and having more terrorist attacks. They're not messing. They're just saying that they're going to leave the Pentagon alone.
No, he wants to cut. He wants to cut the Pentagon's budget.
In the new budget, in the new defense budget,
getting in there and not knowing how things work in America, but you leave that stuff alone. I don't care how much money. You don't care how much money the military wastes. Let them waste it.
They're not going to do anything as far as
let them waste it. That's what keeps us safe. That's what keeps us safe for real.
They're not about to mess with that because ain't nobody's dumb enough to really, do anything.
And the new budget that was just pushed by the GOP, they just raised the defense budget to over $1 trillion or whatever they want to do there.
Yeah, they should. They should.
I mean, where's the money going? We need to figure that out too. But at the end of the day, they're trying to cut Medicaid. I think they're looking at cuts in the Social Security and everything else. I mean, Doge hasn't. How much money has Doge found? Realistically,
they haven't found any bad money. They're just cutting contracts.
Exactly, they're cutting contracts. They're going to have to go back.
How many liberals had they pockets in them contracts?
I mean,
they probably pulling out. They probably a lot of people. As soon as Donald Trump said they probably pulled out stock. We need to investigate the New York Stock Exchange and see who all pulling away from these stocks. Then we'll know.
Nancy Pelosi.
I'm not seeing anything that he's done that's helping keep America safe. I'm watching his foreign policy is not keeping America safe. There's nothing that you guys have said that I understand.
His foreign policy ain't to keep.
You don't want immigrants in the country.
What about his foreign policy is not keeping us safe?
Well, hold on. Ain't nobody
teaming up with Russia is showing us exactly what he's done before. Oh yeah, he's definitely teaming up with Russia. He's definitely siding with Putin over this. He's done that for the last.
Let me give you something. When you go into a place, when you talk about power, right? Let's just take two power gang members, gang organizations. The bosses sit down and make sure that they people stand in check.
If you're at war, you take the two sides that are at that war and you bring. I'm not talking about us. I'm not talking about us, but we're in the middle of it. So I'm not saying we are at war. We have not been at war. We have not been at war the whole time that Biden was in office.
Is to intervene so he can stop it, not to be like.
We have not been at war since Biden has been in office.
We've been giving money to the country.
Might as well been and being. We understand that. Those are two.
I'm saying I'll talk to Wes about that too. I was like, yo, if we give him the bullets, we win.
I'd rather. You know what I'd rather be? Might as well be at war. I mean, that helps us. I mean, we act like Russia could ever really truly be our friend. We understand that they're not, right? You guys agree that Russia is not an ally of the United States and has never been? Do we
never
agree
will
on that?
be?
Never can be. It's impossible. Do we understand why Russia went into Ukraine and why Russia went into South Ossetia and those places? Do we understand the real reason why? Not because NATO came.
And who are the presidents that they invaded on?
George Bush. He went into Crimea we went into South Ossetia. He went in South Ossetia, Georgia under Bush. He went into Crimea under Obama. He went into Ukraine under Biden. I understand. I'll give you everything that there is. This is all facts. I mean, however, when he went into South Ossetia, when he went into South when he went into Crimea, it wasn't an invasion. It wasn't built that way. What it was he built it as like a political deal. It wasn't like he went in with troops, stormed the area. He didn't do that. That's not how it went down. In Georgia, they also had like a separatist group kind of start the initial bombardment, and then he came in and kind of like said, I'm coming in to protect this group. This is the same thing he did. This is a ploy, but I'm not saying that he didn't. I mean, he did the same thing in Crimea. Brought in the green suits, and then all of a sudden it's theirs now. You know what I'm saying? We know. I understand that, but the fact of the matter is,
Putin waited until because they had the Olympics in Russia, so you have to wait for that. That's the reason. That's when he waited. He waited until they got done with the Olympics, and he was like, "All right, back to business." But with that, folks, I thank all of our guests for coming on to our live stream. Hopefully, you guys can join us next week. Next week we're going to change the format. We're going to do the articles that we covered on our show. Do you guys want to send any shout outs to anybody?
Yeah, man.
I'm going to send a shout out to you guys.
Yeah, I would like to send a shout out.
For sure, Steve.
I'd like to send a shout out to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Hey, I want to say I appreciate you guys for all coming on the show. It was a very spirited conversation. I really like it. It actually makes me have to think a little bit. Most times I have conversations with people, there's not a lot of thinking involved in it at all. But you guys actually have brought some good viewpoints.
I had the keyboards. I was like, wait a minute, let me get some facts really quick.
What did you say?
That's because you're only talking to liberals.
I mean, I honestly have so much debate with Republicans is crazy, but you guys came with some good material.
You're still
No,
over.
it's all right. I feel like I cleaned house. I'm always gonna come in with facts. I feel like I was bombarded with a
Where
lot
are you
of
getting your
not.
facts? Because MSNBC doesn't count.
I don't even watch MSNBC. The cold part.
Yeah,
about it,
I don't watch mainstream news
any
either.
Mainstream news at all. Because most of them are opinion pieces. I like facts can be
Yeah, it's
disseminated
all about
amongst
propaganda.
numbers. Yeah, I don't do that.
The only way you find out facts, I mean, I guess there's no real reason unless you pick up a book.
Some things are just are with some things just. I mean, but we gotta look at facts like this. If this is a number that everyone put out, either that's a fact or it's not. Either we're gonna say, okay, it's $40-something million spent in the federal budget because the government put that out, and we're gonna call that a fact, or we're not. That's what I think. That's the hard part.
To answer your question, because I never got the answer, and you see who I threw my shutout to, the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's the reason why I voted for Donald Trump, because he said he wanted to make Christianity back to his rightful place.
It was never had a rightful place in the United States of America. We know that in the Constitution, separation of church and state, and it's just in America as a whole, separation of church and state, that should never be a thing. A religion should not be what runs our country. It should be a part of people's lives.
Religion shouldn't run the country, but everybody should know the truth. You said, you said facts. You said facts, and you can
what
debate
God. But Allah means God. You know that Allah means God. Allah doesn't mean some particular. Allah means God. I'm not saying that I am a Muslim. I'm just saying it just does. I think everyone has their version of who, and so. But anyway, we won't go into. I hope you guys can come back next week and have a better conversation. You know what I'm saying? But
there were no Muslims in this country when the Constitution was created.
Yo, Cam, you make sure you come back, man. And next time,
I won't say their word now.
Man, God, dog, boy, that tie was too tight.
I know why he did what he did. I know exactly why he came in the way he did. But I want you to know, man. All of us on this are successful black men. Successful men as a whole too, Steve. But I've owned several different businesses. I own businesses now to this day. I own many pieces of property. I don't have to. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily have to work if I don't want to. I can travel and do different things. So it's not like I'm just some person who look at the Democrats as being there, going to save it. But I look at the trajectory of our country. That's what I look at. Where are we heading? I know that the demographics are changing in this country, and I feel like we're trying to pull back on something that you can't. I don't want us to be Motorola. I want us to be the iPhone, and then what comes after that. That's what America should always be.
I don't want to be the
own
iPhone.
Things.
We was better with push buttons. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you all for coming to the town hall. We will see you next Sunday.
All right. Peace.